Hello there, everyone. Welcome to Speak Now Pro Wrestling. I'm Denise Salcedo. Welcome to my AEW Dynamite post show. It is the September 15th edition, technically the go-home show heading into AEW Dynamite Grand Slam, AEW Rampage Grand Slam. It is going to be a very exciting upcoming week of AEW content, and we kind of have a lot to get into here today. For a show that I think maybe didn't have like a lot of stuff aside from like Adam Cole's in-ring return promoted, I think that it was a very, very fun show. Can't wait to get into. There's going to be plenty of to talk about here today. So welcome, everybody. Come on into the stream. And sorry I was late, everyone. And I just realized my headphones are all messed up. But thank you so much for coming in and waiting for me. I kind of lost track of time. I was like, sending out a tweet and then I got distracted and then I was like, oh my God, it's time for my show. Hurry up. So there you go. Some little behind the scenes information there, but we got people coming in and I'm going to kick it off with some of our super chats for the day. And our first super chat that we got here is Manuel Cifuentes. Thank you so much to Manuel Cifuentes who says, hey, me again, Denise. I'm sure you and everyone in the West Coast are dying to know when the hell is AEW coming to the West Coast? Hashtag screw rent. Hashtag I want AEW. Yes, screw rent because rent is expensive here in Southern California. But so I had been wondering when AEW is going to be making their way out to the West Coast. So in that interview that Dave and Garrett did with Tony Khan did talk about this in his latest interview on Wrestling Observer Radio, where he said that he already had a date during like the time of like COVID and lockdown. He already had a date set for a Los Angeles show, but obviously due to COVID and due to the lockdown, that essentially got, dismantled and whatnot. And he is looking to obviously when they do he's hoping, he says if all goes, as planned, he did say that, if they do AEW Double or Nothing in Las Vegas, they are planning to do some shows in California during around that same time period. So I really hope so because we had not had an AEW event here in Southern California. So it's like, I've gone to so many AEW events, but I've had to travel and pay for all of them. I don't mind, just kind of going from my house to the venue to watch some AEW. I can't afford hotels all the time, Tony. But there you go. I do hope we get to see AEW in California soon. So thank you so much to Manuel for bringing this up here. We got another super chat from Reggie Simmons. Thank you so much to Reggie who says, time for the best post show on pro wrestling. Do your thing, my sister. Thank you so much, guys. As you know, now that Reggie mentioned it, I have a giant announcement to make. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. So next Wednesday on the 22nd, September 22nd, 2021, it is officially going to be my drum roll, please. Okay, that's a terrible drum roll. It is going to be my 100th episode of Speak Now Pro Wrestling next Wednesday during the AEW Grand Slam and all of that. So I am going to be so excited. I'm hoping to do like giveaways and I'm trying to come up with some really awesome ideas on what I'm going to do for that show. It's going to be my 100th episode, guys. I cannot believe it. My 100th episode is coming up, here on the Wrestling Observer, F4W Online. It's a big deal. So that'll be next week, everybody. Thank you so much to Reggie for giving me an opportunity to brag about that. Oh, this is so great. Devin, thank you so much for this brilliant marketing line. Speak Now, Grand Slam. Bam, we got my name for next week's show. All right, guys, let's get into it because we do got plenty of AEW content to talk about. So we're going to go ahead and get into this show. Like I said, it was a pretty fun show promoting a lot of what we're going to be seeing on Grand Slam week, which they already did announce that AEW Rampage next week is going to be 2 hours. So we're literally going to be getting 2 hours of Dynamite and 2 hours of Rampage. So that's going to be very exciting. That's something that people have been, a couple of people have been wanting to have a 2-hour AEW Rampage show. And I think for like a special one time, especially that they're, doing this in New York, I do think it's a good idea that they're doing a 2-hour special. So I'm excited for it. I know that they're going to really jam pack that show. So that's going to be very exciting. We got a super chat from Air Force Sister 74. Thank you so much. Air Force Sister 74 says, super chat redo from last night. Appreciation super chat. Thank you for being you and for all the hard work you do every week. Congrats on 100. I'm getting there, but thank you so much for sending in this super chat. I truly, truly appreciate it. You're so kind, and thank you for reaching out to me on Twitter. I thank you very, very much, and thank you for redoing the super chat. You really didn't have to, but I still want to thank you again. We have a comment from Aaron Fernandez who's asking me to do an AEW Kahoot quiz again soon. There is one coming up. I'm hoping to do it next month. I'll have more information later on for all of you guys here. All right, guys, so let's get into this. Opening match, guys. So first and foremost, before the show gets started, or as the show gets started, we kick off with CM Punk's entrance. CM Punk was being promoted as joining the commentary team for tonight, and he was pretty much there for a majority of the night. I was looking forward to this, guys. CM Punk is somebody that we haven't, really been able to see on our TV screens regularly in the last 7 years. So I was pretty excited when I found out that he was going to be doing commentary for tonight, because CM Punk is somebody that, has a smart mind, has a fun personality. He has a different personality, very different from what we normally get from, like, for example, from Chris Jericho when he's on commentary. So CM Punk brings something different than, Taz and some of the other people that they have jump in on commentary. So I was looking forward to this because I want to know CM Punk's insight. And as somebody who, has said that, he's still trying to get, he's been putting over the talent, the younger talent a lot. So I wanted to get his thoughts and his feedback on, what we were seeing on Dynamite and what we have been seeing on Dynamite. So I, for one, was really digging the fact that he did commentary here tonight. So I thought it was pretty good. But let's get into this opening match. So Adam Cole had his first ever AEW match here tonight on Dynamite. And I was a little surprised that they opened up with this match, but I didn't mind it. I feel that lately the opening matches on Dynamite have been like really good, some of which have even been better than the actual main events. And Adam Cole versus Frankie Kazarian definitely kind of held that up once again. This was a really fun match. We got a couple of great moments in this. Some of my favorite moments that we saw in this match was Frankie Kazarian locking Adam Cole in a submission, and Cole essentially just like hitting him continuously in the face with several boots to the face. I thought that looked pretty gruesome and aggressive. I was a fan of that. We see Cole super kick Frankie Kazarian, go for a pin, but ends up getting a near fall. We see them exchange back and forth, left and right with one another. And then finally, we see Adam Cole hit the Panama Sunrise, then gets him with a kick to the back. And that is how he is able to win this match. So as for his first match in AEW, I thought it was a solid match and a good victory for him. Again, getting him his first win on AEW. So I was a fan of this. I like that Frankie Kazarian had his first match, gave his first match to Christian Cage on AEW, and now the same thing with Adam Cole. So Frankie Kazarian is definitely somebody that is really good in this spot here. So I really enjoyed this. After this here, guys, we have a promo from Adam Cole. Adam Cole basically starts saying that hope is a dangerous thing. He says that if the locker room has any hopes that they can keep up with the elite, that is never going to happen. He starts to say that there are 3 guys that absolutely have been bugging him, that have been getting on his nerves. He calls out Christian Cage, he calls out Luchasaurus, and he calls out Jungle Boy, and basically says they've gotten underneath his skin. And so we now have it that next week we are going to be having a match on Rampage, a 3-on-3, Adam Cole and the Bucks versus Jurassic Express and Christian Cage. Now, later on in the show, we had a backstage segment where we had a pretty killer line. So we had Jungle Boy basically saying that, he had better friends than Adam Cole, and then he had better hair than Adam Cole. But Christian Cage interrupts him and basically says, like, let me Adam Cole does have good friends, basically saying that, the EVPs, the Young Bucks, essentially use their pool, use their power to get him out of developmental by giving him a lifeline. That was a really, really good line, but also a lot of people on Twitter were sort of upset. There's two different mentalities when it comes to this. There's people that like those shots at WWE, and there's people that don't like those shots at WWE. I feel like, to be honest, I live for the drama, so I was okay with it. I thought that it was pretty damn hilarious, so I thought it was a really good line. But let's see, what did you guys think of Adam Cole's officially his first AEW in-ring performance? Go ahead and send in your thoughts, everybody. We got a super chat from Crifter C. Thank you so much to Crifter, who says, while I was watching Cole versus Frankie, it dawned on me that Christian's first AEW match was also against Frankie. Love this match, BTW. Crifter, same thing. And I just mentioned it right now. I was like, hey, that is true. Frankie Kazarian also gave Christian Cage his first match in the AEW. So I do really think it was a really nice, spot for him here. And we got a comment from the Keys Boo who says, it's all about the boom. I read this comment because the people in the audience tonight, I thought the reception that they gave Adam Cole when he came out today was phenomenal. Like, I loved the way that the crowd just completely erupted for Adam Cole. So shout out to them, because I thought they did really, really well here today. We got a comment from Jeremy Jimenez who says, the opening matches, especially when they're good, set the tone for the entire show. They really do. A lot of what you see, across different wrestling shows, the way that they kick off the show is kind of what you're bound to get for the rest of the show. But AEW has been doing a really good job at having a lot of really good opening matches. And I know this because I recall coming on here and talking about this multiple times. There has been several times where I've actually enjoyed the opening matches more than some of the main events. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. I actually think it's a pretty decent thing, actually. You don't want to disregard, the opening match. I think. Yeah. All right. Let's see what else we got here, guys. Josh Bowen says, this is how you start Dynamite. Awesome match. And Sean says, I love how they kick it off with the highest energy. We got Wrestle War saying Adam Cole is crazy over in AEW. That would have never happened if he stayed in WWE. He's just a perfect fit in AEW. I mean, Adam Cole was crazy over too in WWE. Well, most are in NXT, obviously. If they would have actually, put him on the main roster and given him a proper push, I do not doubt that he would have been over there too. But obviously, he's over here in a different way. We got a comment from Daniel putting over Frankie Kazarian, basically saying that he's underrated in the ring, so great at putting people over while looking like a badass. In a way, I would say he's sort of underrated, but I think that people that have been following his career for a long time or have been wrestling fans for a long time, I think they know and appreciate the work that Frankie Kazarian puts into the ring. And, he's a guy that you trust to essentially, like Sam 3 says here, never has a bad match. That is a guy that you trust to always make sure to have a good match here. We got a comment from the Keys Boo who says, double massive pop to start the show, first with Punk coming out for commentary and then Adam Cole's first match. I had a moment where I was like, holy cow, we just had I know this has been a couple weeks now where we've had, all of these guys on the show, but I had a moment where CM Punk came out and I'm thinking to myself oh yeah, that's great, whatever. Right. And then immediately after we have Adam Cole's music hit and I'm thinking to myself, damn, we just got back to back CM Punk coming out and then Adam Cole coming out. For some reason, it was something that really kind of just stuck out in my mind, really stuck out in my mind here. We got a comment from Dakota8595 who says, I really liked him teasing the Sweet Chin music. If anyone will carry that on, it should be Adam Cole. All right, guys, and I'm going to go through a couple more comments. As if you're in here and you're watching the live version, please make sure to take part in the chat, and I will make sure to include your comments as we go on here. Dakota just asked as well if I see comments from Twitch or only YouTube. I do see both comments on here. However, I think our viewership on YouTube is a little larger, so those comments tend to pop up a little bit more often than the Twitch comments, but send them in and I will try to pull them in as we go through this entire show, guys. Comment from Brent3419 who says that the crowd was wild tonight. They were, and I forgot, a couple of weeks ago, we had a crowd that wasn't necessarily that wasn't necessarily to the standard that I think most of us expected, but I've been on this show so many times talking about how we can literally have your ordinary basic wrestling match, but the crowd is really what will elevate that to the next level and make something that if maybe it was, without an audience, it would just be a match, but the crowd has the power. The crowd has the power to elevate whatever it is that they're seeing on, in the ring, So they've been doing a really good job of that, I think, throughout, especially since AEW returned on the road. We've been seeing that the crowd has definitely improved a lot of what we've been seeing on the show here. And let's see what else we got here. We got so many different comments here. This one is from Josh in regards to the shots that AEW throws, saying they need to get away from taking shots at WWE. AEW is an amazing promotion and doesn't need to recognize the other company. Look, I get it, guys. I get the criticism. Like I said, I like the drama, guys. Give me the drama. I'm here for it. I'm sure there's other people like me. I don't mind the shots. I see them as like playful. Hell, it's so easy. That's the thing. It's so easy to throw these kinds of shots. And so and even as a WWE fan, and I'm watching AEW and, I hear these shots, I laugh. I could roll it off my shoulder. It's not a big deal. But I do see the argument as in people getting mad about it because they kind of feel like they always have to rely on that. And I don't think that they're relying it. I just think when there's an opportunity to do so, you might as well take it, right? If you have the chance, if you have a good burn, a good line, it's so easy to take it. Like when you had that whole line about, Britt Baker basically telling Ruby Soho to go run away to catering where she spent her entire life. It was so easy to throw that jab. And especially if you want to get some good, heel heat there, that was a really funny moment. I think that was last week with Britt Baker. So there's different moments where I think that it's fine. No big deal. It's just, the way I see it is just having a good time. And we got a lot of people with different opinions about this. This one's from Justin Martin, who says, I really don't mind the shots at NXT since AEW won that war handedly. They have room to brag. You know what? There you go. Bragging rights. Bragging rights there. And I'm going to go through a couple more comments here. And we got so many different thoughts on this, guys. Again, you know what? I think it's harmless. DJ Gracio says next week is gonna be monster. Hell yeah, it is gonna be an epic week, guys. Everybody's basically pointing out what an awesome week it is gonna be next week. For some reason, next week feel like they've done a really good job at promoting Grand Slam, that it feels almost like a TV pay-per-view, if that makes any sense at all. It feels like it feels special. That's what I want to say here. That's what I want to say. All right. And let's go ahead and move on, guys. So here we go. Let's get into really funny moments that we had here on the show. So we have an upcoming match announced for Rampage this Friday. And it is going to be, you can say it's going to be a car versus title, but technically you can also say title versus title, because Fuego del Sol apparently got himself a Hyundai, whatever, got himself that car. And, he's basically being interviewed about the fact that, he didn't get the TNT championship, but he did get his contract. So he ends up essentially putting his car on the line. He puts his car on the line and he's going to have this match against Miro. So if he loses his car and obviously does not get the championship. If he wins, he gets to keep his car and get a championship. My prediction as of right now is that poor Fuego is going to lose his car. But what I thought was funny here was that obviously, Fuego is not making Kenny Omega money on the roster. He's not making, Adam Cole money on the roster. So I did kind of think that it was funny that his car wasn't necessarily what you would see like a Lamborghini or a Ferrari or something like that. So I kind of thought that it was hilarious that they did like your everyday car that like anybody can have here. We got people basically saying rip his car. Definitely. He's going to be carless like I am at the moment, guys. Oh, and it sucks too. Being carless sucks because then you have to take Lyft everywhere and then they charge you a bunch of money. It's terrible. All right, guys. Josh Bowen says, lose his car, he can buy another one. Hey, I don't like I said, he's not making Kenny Omega money. It's not happening. EJ Lopez says, who are the better jobbers, Fuego del Sol or 2.0? Fuego del Sol, by like a million, because he kind of has like this like charming thing to him where you're like, oh, I kind of feel bad for him. And especially the way that Miro killed him that one day on Rampage when they had their match. I mean, he absolutely brutalized the poor guy. So you couldn't help but to feel for him. And then when he got his contract and he started crying and he has like the sad lip and he's making the crying face and he's getting so emotional. Oh, it pulled my heartstrings, man. And then I can guarantee if he loses his car, we're all going to be sad about it. So there you go. I would definitely say Fuego del Sol is definitely up there for me. Let's see what else we got here. We got a comment from Diel Irazi who says, poor Fuego, but I bet they are setting up this because they are going to have Sammy versus Miro eventually. Hell yeah, man. That would be badass. I'm here for it. 100% here for that. And let's see what else we got here. All right. And all right, I'm gonna go ahead and move on. Yeah, somebody's asking why I got no car in LA. My car is busted, guys. It's getting old. My car is aging, so it's starting to have like issues. And so that's why I don't have a car right now. I haven't had a car in like a month. It's been terrible. Terrible. But what can you do? It is what it is, guys. It is what it is. Adult problems. Alrighty, everyone, let's jump into this next segment. We got MJF, and MJF last week with Brian Pillman Jr. and Wardlow and Griff Garrison. I put that segment over massively because I was so deeply interested in that whole story. And I gotta say, it's one of my favorite, I would probably say right now, what we've been seeing on AEW, this is probably my favorite story that they're telling right now. Maybe aside from Bryan Danielson and Kenny Omega and obviously everything that they're doing with Adam Cole and the Elite. Okay, aside from that, the story that has my interest the most is definitely what they're doing with MJF and Brian Pillman Jr. because I just feel like they're really doing something different and something new. Nah, I don't know if I want to say new, but it feels like alternative. I don't know how else to explain it, but when you got MJF basically coming out here and all of the things that he said last week, which were just terrible things, right? But it's just like the heat that he got for that and the lines that he pulled. And again, I put this over last week, but then, if you watch that Dark Side of the Ring episode, it's like you have that portion of it. You have what you're seeing on AEW. You can't help but to be interested in the entire story. And then also you're starting to see this, this new spotlight being shone on Brian Pillman Jr. And this is a good opportunity for Brian Pillman Jr. to essentially go from, where he was on the roster to like that next level on the roster. And what you're seeing right now is this growth with Brian Pillman Jr. And so that is the reason why, on top of MJF's heel work and all of that, and seeing Brian Pillman Jr. get up to that next portion on the roster, for me, it makes me excited to see where they're going with this story. This is honestly one of my favorite things that we're seeing on the show. But holy Jesus, mother, James Riley, James. Thank you so much, dude. James just sent it a massive super chat. James, holy cow. Hold on. I need to write your name down because I need to write this down for a second because well, you'll see. James, thank you so much for the super chat, for this massive super chat. You did not have to send in this massive super chat, but I appreciate it. New car fund. You literally, honestly, with this super chat, definitely made up for my Lyft expenses for the day. Thank you so much. Really, truly. Every time you guys, just the fact that you guys tune into the show is one thing, but that you guys send in super chats like this, it's like a whole other thing. James, sending you lots of love, man. Lots of love. All Alrighty, guys. And so let me continue on with this segment here with MJF and all of this. So MJF comes out and he's throwing all of his shots at New Jersey. Good, easy heel heat to get there. And then he starts basically telling everybody that he was smartened up by people in the back for some of the words that he said last week that were offensive to people. And he basically says, I don't care. And then he kind of takes it another step further. Now, I don't necessarily know how well this got over with people or if it even got over, because I did sense that some people in the crowd kind of didn't know how to react to this, or maybe felt a little uncomfortable. Now, because I'm assuming that this was something that was, I think that this was something that was, I don't think they're just going to do something like this without there being like an okay given. So for me, I thought this was like great to get heel heat, but I don't necessarily know how the crowd took it so well, because you essentially have MJF saying that he's this religious man. And he says that he's going to have a conversation with Brian Pillman, the late Brian Pillman Jr.'s dad. And then he basically starts, talking up to heaven and pointing to heaven. And then he basically starts saying, like, who am I kidding? And then he just looks down and starts looking to the ground, insinuating that, insinuating the whole him, I hate saying it, but insinuating that he's in hell, essentially. And so I was just like, oh my God. And the reaction from people, like, they were like, massive heat towards him. I could not believe it. So I thought that this was great in the sense that I know that this is something that was approved. I could assume that it was. I don't think that he's just going to go willy-nilly and, say something like that without that being okay. But this was massive heel heat, guys. I was here for it. And it kind of like puts over even more so Brian Pillman Jr., because he comes out and he essentially comes out, swinging the chair, getting at MJF, getting at Wardlow. And that's essentially how that entire segment ends. So based on what they did last week, based on what they did this week, I'm really, really looking forward to the story with MJF and this match with MJF and Brian Pillman Jr. I'm really, really sold on this. Send in your thoughts, guys. Are you loving the story as much as I am? Are you maybe not as in love with the story as I am? Go ahead and let me know. Also, we did have a really awesome sit-down interview with Brian Pillman Jr. and Jim Ross, where he basically just talks about, the struggles and the adversities that he had to face growing up, and basically telling MJF that he's never faced anybody like him before. All right, so here we go, guys. I'm going to hop on in because we got a couple more things. We got another super chat. This one's from Flamethrower Fluff Salisbury, who says, I think MJF will cross he says, I think that MJF will cross too many lines with Pillman and it will turn Wardlow babyface. Yeah, we've been getting that tease already for a while now. We had that whole moment, if you guys remember, when MJF was going into this match with Chris Jericho and he was like eating the apple and he was cutting this promo. I forget which Dynamite, but he was opening it up. And then he kind of just like, I think he was kind of like really rude to Wardlow that day. So they've been planting the seeds. And then last week you had the whole, basically MJF telling Wardlow just to go over there and look pretty. And that was obviously very insulting. You don't go tell anybody just go over there and look pretty. It's insulting either way. So we had that. And so I do think that there is going to be a moment where Wardlow's just like, dude, WTF, like what the hell? So I can definitely see this playing into the story. And based on what we've been seeing, based on the seeds that they've been planting, I would not be surprised if we see Wardlow essentially I would not be surprised if we see Wardlow be the reason that Brian Pillman Jr. gets that win. And you got to have him get the win. MJF's been talking way too much crap for Brian Pillman Jr. to essentially lose to MJF. So MJF has to lose in this situation, but they also got to do it in a way where it furthers the story, and they can further it by essentially having Wardlow get involved here. So I think you're definitely onto something. Thank you so much for bringing that up in here. And I'm going to go through a couple more comments. Daniel Zambrano, thank you so much for this awesome super chat. Daniel says, Para el carrito nuevo. Thanks for the awesome post show appointment viewing for me and my girlfriend. Guys, okay, so first of all, I just got to say, it makes me very, very excited when I find out that, like, obviously, it's wrestling. So I know that a bunch of guys watch my show. That's just bound to happen because there's more of a male demographic here. But I get very excited when I find out that women watch my shows because I'm like, oh my God, someone likes me. This is great. So thank you so much to Daniel and his girlfriend for checking out the show and for sending in some love for hopefully. Well, I'm hoping to eventually get a new car. I got to sell it. I'm probably going to sell it, guys, although I'm emotionally attached to my car. So I don't know if I can sell it really. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll figure it out. My poor grandma, BTW, guys, she's been the one that's been lending me her car. And I'm pretty sure she's annoyed of me now. She probably doesn't even want to answer my phone calls anymore. She's going to be like, Denise just wants to borrow my car. So shout out to my grandma. But thank you so much to Daniel Zambrano for sending in this really nice super chat here. All right, guys. And we're getting so many different comments. I'm going to pull out some comments here on what you guys thought about what you guys thought about this show here. And this is from Daniel, who basically says that MJF worked it so well. The dude is a master. Josh Bowen says this should have happened last week. Love Pillman Jr. And, and his sister, she had the baby after that. Like, I think the day after or 2 days after she had the baby. So I'm like, hell yeah. Baby's gonna come get MJF. That's long-term storytelling right there. Question the Mark says Pillman loved to create heat. I wonder if Pillman Jr. will eventually turn on Griff. I hope not right now. If that's gonna happen, it's got to be way down the line, but definitely not right now. We got a comment from Mad G27NY who says, on TV, the fans' sound didn't come off as it did live. The crowd was better in person, and AEW production has to capture the live audience sound better. Yeah, you got to find a nice balance between, obviously, your commentators, making sure you hear them perfectly, but also making sure that you hear the audience perfectly. So, obviously, they have a good production team, and they do that. There are some shows where it does kind of feel like a little off, but so I am curious. Obviously, I wasn't there in the crowd, but I am curious as to how that came off on TV here. And we got a comment from Carney Business who says, I normally hate heat like that, but MJF is another level and made it work. Plus, imagine he has permission from Bryan Jr. and the family. The goal is to get Bryan Jr. over after all. And it's working. It is working because you want to see him essentially get revenge for all of the, the shiz that MJF has been saying. I mean, look at what he did, what he said to his aunt. Look at what he said to his sister. Look at what he's saying about his late father. It's pissing even me off where I'm like, dang it, bro. You got to go in there. You got to get revenge. And that was something that, Jim Ross was also talking about with him in that sit down interview where he said, what went down with MJF was embarrassing. You got to go in, get revenge, etc. So I think they're telling a really, really good story there. Even if some of the lines kind of feel a little uncomfortable, hell, it means it's working, right? I don't know. A lot of people here basically pointing out that they love the storyline here. And let's see what else we got here. Shout out to Logan White, who is a brand new member here on the YouTube channel. Welcome. If you guys haven't already, if you guys have been thinking, should I become a YouTube member here? You definitely can become a YouTube member. You get lots of exclusive bonus content, really good stuff here up on the YouTube channel. And we're so close to hitting that 100K subscriber mark. So if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe. And let's see what else we got here. All right, I'm going to go through a couple more comments here. And let's see. I think I pretty much got everything here. Someone's saying that Denise AEW already filled the swear jar. That is kind of true here. Jay Rock also points out that he loves how AEW embraced the Suzuki incident. I think they kind of had to. I like that they ended up weaving it into the storyline. So I think they kind of definitely saved themselves on that one there. And Anonymous Redneck says the sit down interview with Jim Ross did good adding to the storyline. Yeah, I agree. Definitely agree. Alrighty, everybody. Before we move on to the next topic here, I just want to remind you guys all that this Friday, I'm not going to be doing my SmackDown Rampage post show this week. I will be back next week, obviously, but this week because I am going to be at GCW, I'm going to be co-ring announcing with Emil, so I will not be here doing my post show. However, I am going to do an earlier show. I'm going to be doing a live Q&A, basically answering any question that you guys have, whatever you guys have, whatever questions, I wouldn't say anything's off the table. I would say everything's on the table. Whatever. You guys can come on into that chat. It'll be really fun if you just want to come in and hang out and talk about pro wrestling. It'll be a good time. That is going to be this Friday. So make sure you guys tune in for that. And then after that, I will be back on Tuesday to talk about NXT 2.0. Then Wednesday will be my 100th episode where I will be talking about AEW Dynamite Grand Slam. And then Friday, I will be back to talk about SmackDown and AEW Rampage Grand Slam, which is going to be 2 hours. So that's going to be 4 hours of wrestling content in 1 hour. So we're going to make it fit here. Question the Mark says, Denise is hardcore at GCW. Deathmatch Denise, guys, has been born 2021. Little Evil. It's great. All right, guys, here we go. Let's move on here and hop into this next match here. So we had Dante Martin and Matt Sydal versus FTR here. And all I really got to say here, when it comes to this match is, man, kudos. Kudos to Dante Martin. Dante Martin has really been just showing everything that he can do. He's going out there and, they always say, whatever TV time you get available, whatever TV time, whether it's 20 seconds, 20 minutes, whatever the case may be, go out there and get your stuff in, go out there and show who you are, get over with those people, utilize every single second, every single moment that you have with the TV audience. So Dante Martin is a perfect example of that, because this guy was straight fire during this match. He was all over the place. He was leaping out of the ring. He was doing drop kicks left and right. I mean, a bunch of stuff. He really stood out. In the end, we did have FTR winning, but again, it was another good showcase for Dante Martin. So I thought this was perfectly fine here. And we got a super chat from Estillo Latino. Thank you so much to Estillo Latino, who says, hashtag La Chamuca Denise Salcedo. Yeah. That's hilarious. I appreciate you sending that in. A funny story, like there's always like these creepy stories that you hear about like in movies and TV. And me and my grandparents, like me and my grandma would always make this joke where we'd be like, hopefully the chamuco doesn't come and get us at night. So it kind of made me laugh, your comment when you said La Chamuca Denise Salcedo. Thank you so much to Estillo Latino for sending in this super chat. And alrighty, guys, let's see what you guys are saying here. We got a comment from Church of Platinum who says Dante really is the human highlight reel. Animated Bible Story says, I'm a huge Dante Martin fan. He has been a beast lately. They really have something with him, and he's likable. He's fun. I mean, I love basically what I've been seeing of him on Dynamite. I've been loving, and I want to see more. So thumbs up on that here. And we got Rumple Foreskin who says, heard some Dante chants tonight. Great. And let's see what else we got here. I'm going to go through a couple more comments here. And Ace Semper is basically saying that Dante is so fluid. Hunter Hoke says FTR killed it, but Dante was on fire. Like FTR, like they're already, like I feel they're already an established tag team on AEW. So like for me, like they're perfectly fine, right? But but today, I think the point of this match was to really highlight Dante Martin, which is what they did. Because again, FTR, they're already established, so they're pretty good. Beecher's Revenge says, I don't know if nothing's off the table is a good Q&A policy. Man, I do anything for the ratings, guys. It's all about the ratings. Thank you so much to Beecher's Revenge for the concern here. All right, guys. And let's go ahead and move on in the meantime. And they did announce during this match that next week Rampage will be on for 2 hours, ladies and gents. They also announced during this point in the show that we're going to be getting Lance Archer and Minoru Suzuki versus Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley next week on Dynamite. That's going to be another really exciting match. Really exciting show, and I'm gonna eventually go through these matches here, guys. I think I got them all down. Yeah. All right, we'll talk about those towards the end, actually. But let's move into this next portion. Another really good moment of the show here. This was Malakai Black. Malakai Black coming out, and guess who is in the audience? Rosario Dawson. Rosario Dawson is a popular actress, and she's also one of the co-hosts on the, what is it, the Big Show show, or not the Big Show show, the Go Home show, the Go Big Home show. Whatever the show is called that Cody Rhodes is on, that show. That show, I believe if I'm right, she's one of his co-hosts. Yes, she's one of the co-hosts. I only saw the show one time, so thank you guys. It's the Go Big Show. Or is it no? Because the Big Show was the one on Netflix. So this is the Go Big Show. Thank you, everybody. The Go Big Show. Too many of these big shows, guys. Too many. And thank you. You guys did clarify that she is a judge. Perfect. I wanted to make sure I got that on point here. But anyway, so she's in the crowd, and essentially the second that, Malakai Black turns his attention to her, Cody Rhodes makes his way down, coming through the crowd, which was really cool. He comes in, and before he makes it on there, Rosario Dawson, she was not afraid to get down. Homegirl was excited to get in there. She jumped on Malakai Black. She's on his back. He's trying to get her off like she's a cat on his neck. I mean, this was great. I was not expecting Rosario Dawson to get her, her feet dirty in this, but she did. She did really good here. I thought that, considering that, she's somebody with pretty big name to her, her coming out and doing this spot was pretty awesome. So good for her. After this, we do see Cody essentially coming down. Once he comes down, him and Malakai Black end up, brawling throughout the crowd. They end up, making their way all the way up through the stairs. So that was pretty cool. I thought that was a fun, unique way to kind of, do something before their actual match here. Alrighty, guys, and we're going to go ahead and move on to the Dan Lambert promo. So the Dan Lambert promo, the second that he comes out, people are already massively booing this guy. The guy hasn't even said anything, and people are booing. There are people here. They did not like Dan Lambert. There are people that love to hate him because, the stuff that he says just really gets underneath your skin. And then there's people that legitimately hate Dan Lambert. I didn't realize that there are people who legitimately hate him for the stuff that he's coming out here and that he's saying. I love it. I think he's drawing massive heel heat, and I'm a fan of that. So I am a fan of Dan Lambert and what he's doing here. With him, though, behind him, he had Kayla Harrison and Paige Van Zant. So that was pretty interesting to see as well. But he essentially goes off. He's going, doing his Dan Lambert stuff, saying a bunch of different nonsense. You have Chris Jericho coming on. Chris Jericho then comes out. He says a bunch of nonsense, and they essentially kind of go back and forth here. And the best moment, though, was essentially when Dan Lambert, because last week, Dan Lambert threw shots at the crowd for not knowing the words to Judas. And so this week, he comes out to the song, people are singing, Dan Lambert goes off, and he's like, turn it off, turn the music off. And so they turn the music off, and he's throwing shots at the crowd saying, you guys don't even know the words. You guys need your cell phone to even get the lyrics here. And so they stop the music, so the crowd starts singing the song. And so I did like that. And then Chris Jericho then basically says, well, they don't know the song, the lyrics to your song. And he makes up a song for him, basically saying that the lyrics to Dan Lambert's song is, quote, I am a fat-faced dipshit. Yeah. He sings this over and over. I didn't really think this was funny, guys. I didn't really care. I thought that out of all the promos that we've seen from Chris Jericho, this was probably one of my least favorite. There wasn't a moment in here where I thought, you know what? Oh, I like what he said about this. Nah, I didn't think this one was all of that great. But anyways, we have Dan Lambert basically saying that Jericho is a master manipulator, saying that he gets the fans to use their allowance, to spend their allowance on Fozzy Records. And it is announced that Jake Hager and Chris Jericho will face the Men of the Year, Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky, next week on Dynamite Grand Slam. So, yeah, I was just like, whatever about this, guys. So, send in your thoughts. What did you guys think about this? Let's see what you guys have to say about this here. Karen Nova says, the juvenile insults get a cheap pop for me, to be honest. When it comes to Dan Lambert and like basically going off and like talking about this like new generation, oh, I love it, guys. Oh, I'm a fan of that. I love it. Like, I love like an angry, like, I like that he's like this angry, bitter, angry man. And I think there's a tiny little piece of Dan Lambert in me when I'm pissed about things. Sometimes I'll be like, oh, these damn kids on TikTok, blah, blah, blah. And there's a little piece of Dan Lambert in me, a tiny one. Maybe in all of us. We'll see. Let's see what else we got here. This is a comment from James, who says that this was so good. The crowd was electric for this segment. Hell yeah, because Dan Lambert is getting under people's skin. He's getting under their skin. So it's definitely, it's working here. Robert Bailey Jr. sends in his thoughts, saying Men of the Year should get the win to establish themselves in the ranks. However, I feel that Jericho and Hager will get the big match win with a Hager confrontation with his next MMA opponent. I agree with you. I do think that Men of the Year should get the win here. I think they've been, having Dan Lambert talk a lot of trash. You want to make sure that he's cashing some of those checks. So I would definitely say have Men of the Year win here. They need it. They really need it, because even then there hasn't really been much going on with them. And even then they've sort of been in the shadows of Dan Lambert. So I do think that they need this win. And it probably won't even be a clean win. That's fine. But have them win here. Have them win. And we got a lot of people saying they really enjoyed Chris Jericho's promo. Let's see what else we got here. I'm going to go through a couple more comments, and I hope I got everything here. And let's see what else we got here. I'm going to go through a couple more. Oh, thank you so much to DF and Ray369, who says he didn't know I streamed. I see you pop up on my Twitter stream sometimes. So guys, I recently, to kind of promote my show a little bit more, as you guys know, I stream on Twitch and YouTube, and then the audio version goes up on the website. In order to draw a little bit more eyeballs, I've started to also promote the stream on Periscope on Twitter, so that it'll pop up there. However, there's some streams I forget to add that feature to. So I am trying to make sure that more people know that I go live, because sometimes Twitter does not promote. If you put like a YouTube link on Twitter, it doesn't always like promote it to the masses. So I had to start finding a different way to make sure people knew that I was even going live. So that was something that I started doing to hopefully get some, more eyeballs here, guys. Dakuj97 says, Denise screaming at the clouds. Hell yeah, man. I scream at the clouds all the time. Be out there all angry. Today I was very hangry. So yeah, let's see what else we got here. I'm going to go through a couple more comments. This one's from Corey Conway, who says, Jericho was awesome here. Denise allowed to have her own opinion, but this song and Pushback was awesome. And then what else we got here? I'm going to go through a couple more. We got another person who did not like the Chris Jericho promo. This wasn't my favorite one, guys. I've liked pretty much every single promo he's done. This one wasn't it for me. This one was not it for me. And let's see what we got here. We got a super chat from Jonathan Owen. Thank you so much to Jonathan, who says, I really liked the whole night that was tonight. Seriously, can't wait till the Arthur Ashe show. I'm actually going. Dude, I'm so jealous of you. So I'm going to be in New York this weekend, but I'm going to be there on vacation. Non-work related, guys. I'm literally just going to go out and enjoy 2 nights out in the town in New York. So I'm really excited about that. But I'm kind of a little bit bummed that I'm like, dang, I didn't plan this very well. I could have easily gone to the Arthur Ashe show, but I kind of thought about it too late, where I couldn't get a ticket because the tickets are way too expensive now. And I was too late to apply for media credentials. So I kind of screwed myself. So I'm very jealous of you that you're going to this show, because had I planned ahead of time, had I planned better, I probably would have been at that show, but now I'm not. So now I'm just going to have FOMO. Hey, everybody at the show. See, Dan Lambert already coming out in me right now. I'm pissed that everybody's going to be at the show because I'm not going to be there. Just kidding. Have a good time, man. It's going to be a really good show. Thank you so much to Jonathan for sending in this super chat. And All right, guys. Aaron Cave says Denise is about to cut an MJF promo on these TikTok kids. Don't even get me started. I can always go on a promo about TikTok kids. Ignore my TikTok account because I have one too. All righty, guys. And we got a lot of people here that are going to be at the shows. It's very excited. All righty. Here we go, everybody. Let's hop into this next portion of the show. What we have to talk about is, let's see, what do we got next? All right. After the Dan Lambert promo, we had Jade Cargill versus legit Leyla Hirsch. This was a fine match, guys. This was it was an okay match. Legit Leyla Hirsch. She's been one of my favorite people that I've been seeing on the show. Whenever she gets, TV time on Dynamite, I've been a fan of hers. Jade Cargill, like I've said, she just needs to keep getting more matches because the woman looks phenomenal. I mean, she came out tonight and I was like, damn it, why the hell did I eat that damn hamburger today? I had a cheeseburger today. Literally, I had finished it maybe 20 minutes before Jade Cargill came out. She came out, I saw her, and I thought to myself, God damn it, Denise, you need to stop eating burgers. Well, I don't eat burgers very often, but I did today. Oh, I felt so bad. Anyways, but Jade Cargill comes out. She looks phenomenal. And I wrote down on my notes, do not laugh, but this is true. Layla and Jade go face to boob. Not face to face, but face to boob. I thought that was pretty funny. Obviously, there's a height discrepancy. So Layla gets all up on her, tries to get up all in her face, but ends up going right into her chest, which I thought was kind of hilarious. But anyways, we get the win here. We see Layla put her in an arm bar, and Jade ends up picking her up, doing a power bomb on her, and she eventually gets the win. So another nice win for Jade Cargill to kind of just get some more wins underneath her belt. We got a comment from Church of Platinum who says, good showing for Jade overall. Glad to see her not in a squash match. Again, she just needs to keep having more matches. The more matches, the better that she is going to get here. And let's see what else we got here. I'm going to go through a couple match. Cassie 420 says that this was Jade's longest match. I had somebody else telling me that, but I wasn't sure. But now that I have somebody else telling me that, I'm starting to think that you guys are right and I'm just forgetting. Let's see what else we got here. We got a comment from MCAS Pedo 64 who says, I wish Layla would have won. Her dark match with Kyle and King was great. I like Layla. I do think they shouldn't underestimate her. I think that she can bring something different to the table that we don't necessarily get from some of the other women. So I would like them to, show off more of her uniqueness and getting her those wins. But when it comes to Jade Cargill, she's clearly the one that they're pushing to be a top female superstar. So I don't think they're going to have her losing to Layla. And Labor Day says, girl, missing one burger ain't going to make any of us look like Jade. Yeah, and we're not. I got to do a lot of work to look like Jade Cargill, man. A lot of work. And I ain't going to do it. And let's see what else we got here. We got a comment from Teroch. I think I got that right. Layla rules, not that into Jade. She's too inexperienced at the moment. Would have rather seen Layla win. I think that I'm seeing a lot of people here point out that they wanted to see Layla win. And I can't say that I disagree because I wanted to see Layla win too. I just think that obviously she's a little bit more ready than Jade. But again, look at Jade. Jade is essentially the person that they're pushing here. So there you go. Let's see what else we got here. I'm going to go through a couple more comments. This one's from Hate to Pylon, who says, Jade is ranked 3rd now, so we could be getting close to her championship opportunity. Oh, I wouldn't do it yet. Nope. I don't think she's ready yet. And you don't want to expose her, especially if they have long-term plans for her. I don't think you want to expose her. I wouldn't say I don't think she's ready yet to go there. Britt Baker could definitely have a good match with her, but you also don't want to expose Jade Cargill or have her lose, right away. So, we'll see what we'll see there. I just don't know. All right. And, all right, cool. So let's go ahead and move on from here. And we got a segment an attack on CM Punk. So as I mentioned earlier at the top of the stream, CM Punk was doing commentary the entire night up until this point because he is distracted by Taz and Hook, who essentially come out. And Taz is kind of like hollering in his face, and all you hear is CM Punk basically saying, like, I ain't trying to take your job, right? But anyways, behind, as he's distracted, Hobbs ends up, attacking him from behind. And then we get a moment where Hook literally gets to choke out CM Punk. So look at CM Punk working with the younger talent. That's really what he's been doing, since debuting on AEW. Then Hook goes on over to the commentary and he tells everybody there to essentially get out. He gets out. They put CM Punk through the table. It doesn't break, but either way, it was a good little spot here, and we're going to be seeing Hobbs versus CM Punk. So that's going to be happening. I'm looking forward to that. I think they're going to have a pretty exciting match. And even though there were some people that were kind of complaining that CM Punk isn't in these matches with these main eventers, I like that he's doing something different, and I like that he's working with the younger talent because I feel like we're going to get more of a variety in these types of matches. And I want to see Powerhouse Hobbs in the ring with CM Punk. I think that's going to be really, really good. Also, I may have accidentally gotten Hook casted on Riverdale. If you guys have been missing my Twitter action, I tweeted that Hook should be casted on Riverdale. This is like my third time tweeting that, but this time it got noticed by Archie Comics, and Archie Comics basically said, send Hook. Send Hook. Anyways, that's definitely blowing up right now on my Twitter page. So just mark my words, if Hook somehow ends up on the next season of Riverdale, you can thank me for that, guys. I'm going to want some thank yous from everybody. All right. So hopefully that happens so that I can essentially brag a little bit. It gives me some bragging rights here. And let's see what else we got here, guys. Go ahead and send in your thoughts, and I'm going to go through a couple of comments here, and basically people are giving me good jobs because everybody wants to see Hook on Riverdale. Yes. Edward Gonzalez says, in regards to CM Punk, says, he said in his opening promo he wanted to work with a young talent in the back, and he's doing exactly that. He told us he's doing it. The man did not lie. The man did not lie. Robert Bailey Jr. says, please let this build up to Ricky Starks versus CM Punk. Starks will level up promo-wise with Mr. Pipe Bomb. If MJF is Bubba Dudley, Ricky Starks is Shane Douglas. Ricky Starks is underrated, okay? Underrated, especially. The guy has charisma, okay? And there are a lot of guys with, charisma on the AEW roster, obviously. But I think Ricky Starks is one of those guys that they need to do, and I know you can say this about a lot of people. You can say, oh, they need to do more with this person. But I really do think they need to do more with Ricky Starks, because Ricky Starks has a persona, and it's definitely coming through. The man has a lot of charisma. Josh Bowen says, Denise, you should be Hook's agent. Are you kidding me? I would get him so many bookings. So many. All right. And let me go through a couple more comments as I move on here. And this is from Cody Santella, who says that he's loving what we're getting between Punk and Taz back and forth on the mic. Yeah, it was pretty hilarious last week when they were arguing, where Punk was basically like talking about something else, and then Taz is basically like going at him, basically saying like, you don't talk about my guys, and CM Punk wasn't even talking about them. I mean, it was a whole thing. It was pretty hilarious, actually. Pretty damn hilarious. And I'm going to move on now, because now we're just getting a bunch of comments about comments about Hook in Riverdale. Yeah, I can definitely see him seeing him be there with the the Southside Serpents, or God, what's the name of the Jughead's like dad's like group and all of that. I didn't watch the last season of Riverdale, but I did watch like the first 3 or so seasons. I don't even know, but I was definitely like in love with Jughead. So there you go. All right, guys. Someone says this chat is about Hook now. Hook has taken over this chat. This is now a Hook Stan programming. That's it. This is now a Stan Hook pro. No, I'm not saying that right. This is now a Hook Stan Hook program. I'm thinking about this way too much. I need to move on. All right, let's move on, guys, or I'm just going to be here thinking about this forever. Shawn Spears versus Darby Allin. This is a perfectly fine match here. It was okay. I liked it. We see Shawn Spears rub off the paint of Darby Allin. They go for a couple of minutes here. I think we had a commercial break between this, and then for the finish, we end up seeing Darby hit the coffin drop. Darby gets the win here, but after this, FTR ends up coming out, and they end up going at it with Sting and Darby, and then Tully ends up hitting Sting with a chair. And so Sting is ready to beat the lights out of Tully Blanchard. But instead, FTR essentially come, they have his back. And so he essentially gets saved there. FTR ends up hitting Sting with a spiked pile driver. And then Tully takes off his face paint. And all I got to say about this is, why the hell aren't Darby Allin and Sting investing in waterproof face paint? What the hell? Get waterproof. Your face paint won't come off. But either way, good stuff here. Another good match for Darby Allin. Very exciting guy. Shawn Spears entrance, fantastic. Had to put that over since I don't think I've put that over at all. So I might as well put it over today. And let's see what else we got here. This is, guys, we're still talking about Hook here. I'm still seeing Hook comments. Oh man. All right. And Labor Day says that's not Sting, it's Steve Borden. Well, now without the face paint there. Justin Martin says Sting taking the spike pile driver was one heck of a risk. Seems like it went well. I think based on what we've seen from Sting in the ring, it seems like he could do a lot more than we probably than we were let on previously to believe. So there you go. Alrighty, and let's move on. We got 2 more segments to get into, and then we're wrapping up for today. A friendly reminder, everybody, that I will be back on Friday to do a live Q&A, so make sure you guys tune in for that. I don't want to be there all lonely, so make sure you guys come on in, and then I will be back on Tuesday for NXT 2.0, and then Wednesday will be my 100th episode. All right, Bryan Danielson, let's get into this because we got a pretty big one here. So Bryan Danielson comes out. He's about to be interviewed by Tony Schiavone, but before he can say much, we have Don Callis coming out. Don Callis comes out. He calls him a hippie millionaire, calls Bryan a mark, says that they're the ones who run the place and that Bryan Danielson can't dictate who he gets matches with. So Bryan basically tells him to shut up, that he's here to talk to Kenny Omega, and tells the people, tells him to give the people what they want, and he issues a challenge to Kenny Omega. Again, Don Callis says no, and Don Callis starts saying no. So then the crowd starts going yes. And I thought they could have gone back and forth with this a little bit longer. They kind of rushed this moment, but either way, we end up getting Bryan essentially telling Kenny Omega that, he hears the rumors basically saying that Kenny Omega has lost his confidence, but then he tells Kenny Omega, I don't believe that. I just believe that you lost your balls. So that was a really, really good line. Bryan Danielson and Kenny Omega were wearing the exact same shirt, BTW. And someone told me they were wearing the same shirt last week too. And I didn't even notice. It was this week that I noticed. So I don't know if it's a thing now. But either way, we are officially getting Kenny Omega versus Bryan Danielson at the AEW Dynamite Grand Slam show. It is non-title though, okay? So it is non-title. So make sure, don't get excited thinking it's a title match. But either way, non-title, it's going to be a good wrestling match. That's for sure. And I'm actually glad that they made this match. I know some people were probably like, oh, they probably shouldn't have done it now. But I think given the fact that they're really, really pushing this, Arthur Ashe show, why not go all out, man? They did that. So good stuff there. Question the Mark says, I like how Danielson referred to Kenny losing his confidence, etc. Jeremy says that Bryan contributed to the swear jar too. Cody's definitely ready for this match. And let's see what else we got here. Labor Day says that's the rib, the plain white tee. And let's see. We got through a couple more. This one's from Robert, who says, so Bryan Danielson wins a non-title match as Adam Page thwarts a sneak attack from the Elite, leading to a match at Full Gear for Adam Page versus Kenny Omega, while American Dragon battles with Adam Cole. I don't hate that. And let's see what else we got here. This one's from Carney Business, says that was just unreal. We're getting this match at all, but I'm hyped for it as hell. And Josh Bowen says that he actually thought that they had matching outfits for a minute there. I did so too, but I think Bryan had darker jeans. I think I might be confusing the jeans that they were wearing, but whatever. That's just a random note. Very, very random note. Who even cares? Why am I even talking about this? We got a super chat from Philip Sanders. Thank you so much to Philip, who says, did AEW beat their 4 record unbleeped S words tonight? I don't know. I do not know. Apparently, the swear jar was something that, it's been clearly brought up here on this chat here tonight. Thank you so much to Philip Sanders for asking. I'm going to have to start counting now, everybody. And we got a lot of people basically saying this is a great time to be a pro wrestling fan. This is a comment from James who says, I think they're setting up Hangman's return for Arthur Ashe. There are going to be some interference from the Elite, and then Paige's music hit. The acoustics in the building will make this pop so loud. I do not know what the status is in terms of Hangman Page and his wife and the baby and all of that. So I do not know what that timeline is right now. So that's why I'm not even sure. If he does come out at Arthur Ashe, it'll be an awesome, awesome pop, definitely. And I think that's definitely the show to bring him back on. But again, I don't know what the timeline is. I don't even know if they've already had the baby. I have no idea about that. And so let's go ahead and move on here, guys. And let's get into this. We're going to get into this main event really quickly. So we had Jon Moxley, Eddie Kingston versus 2.0. We saw some nose biting from Moxley throughout this match, but this was actually a faster match than I expected. For some reason, I was expecting it to go a little longer, but I didn't really keep track of the time. So I probably didn't even realize that there wasn't much time left on the show anyways. I didn't think this match was outstanding whatsoever, but Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston ended up getting the win. But really what really mattered was everything that occurred after the match, which after the match, you get Minoru Suzuki's music coming out. And somebody earlier mentioned the Suzuki incident. We've obviously talked about it last week here on the show. So they come out, they finally let his music play out here. And, all these guys end up brawling here, and eventually we get Moxley and Suzuki. They end up over at the Timekeeper's table. They end up there, and they end up on top of the table, and we end up seeing Jon Moxley hit Minoru Suzuki with the mic to the eye, and they essentially continue to brawl out until the end of the show. So I thought that they did a good job at least, setting this up afterwards, because I think there were roughly 3 or so minutes left on the show when Minoru Suzuki came out. So it feels like they're definitely making up for that. So good stuff there. Fun way to end the show. And again, further what we're going to be seeing next week here. And so let's see what else we got here. I'm going to go through a couple more comments here. This one is from C Money, who says, great sweaty, shouty promos and amazing facial reactions. What a way to put it here. Let's see what else we got. This one is from Lenny, who says, the Moxley Suzuki thing has been ongoing since December 2019 over in Japan. This runs way deeper than what they've covered on commentary. This will come to head next week. Josh Bowen says there are 30 figures. It's the EVPs. Brian manipulated Kenny into a match. Absolute genius. And yeah, people are excited, guys. Let's get into the last portion of the show, which is going to be talking about some of the matches that are upcoming. And before I do that, just a friendly reminder, guys, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to F4W Online here on YouTube. If you're on Twitch, if you're listening to the audio version, take time out of your day. Just go on over, hit that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 100K. It'll be awesome when we do, and I'm very happy to have had a little part to play in that. So make sure you guys go ahead and subscribe. Also, if you haven't already, make sure to follow me on Twitter and/or on Instagram @ Denise Salcedo. I'm making my way to 40K on Twitter. But let's talk about the AEW Rampage lineup for this Friday. We're going to have the AEW World Tag Team Champions, Lucha Bros, against Butcher and the Blade. That should be really fun. I'm a fan of both the Butcher and the Blade. We're going to have Anna Jade versus the Bunny. And then the TNT Championship, Miro versus Fuego del Sol. Fuego del Sol is putting his car on the line. And then we have the AEW Dynamite Grand Slam lineup. This is going to be Kenny Omega versus Bryan Danielson, non-title. Cody Rhodes versus Malakai Black. AEW Women's World Championship match, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD versus Ruby Soho. Then we're going to have FTR versus Sting and Darby Allin. MJF versus Brian Pillman Jr. and a CM Punk live interview. So they are really stacking up that show. Then we're going to have the AEW Rampage Grand Slam, which is going to be 2 hours. And so far, what's been announced for this show is Adam Cole and the Young Bucks versus Christian Cage and Jurassic Express, which is bound to be a really fun match. CM Punk versus Powerhouse Hobbs, and Chris Jericho and Jake Hager versus Men of the Year, Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. So much. Get excited, everybody. There's going to be a lot of good stuff to talk about. But alrighty, everyone, that is my AEW Dynamite post show. As always, I thank you guys so much for tuning in each and every single week. Do not forget to come back on Friday for my live Q&A. The stream is already set on YouTube if you guys want to make sure to note that down. And then I will be back on Tuesday for NXT 2.0. Then Wednesday, I will be back again for AEW Dynamite Grand Slam. Then Friday, Smackdown and Rampage. So much to talk about. Have an awesome night, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. Goodbye, everyone.